what you're pointing out kind of underscores why when you get into both the PCE and the CPI and even the PPI, that's why the data is released in basically kind of two formats. The I guess I'd call it the full CPI, for example, which includes food and energy. So of course that can be a mixed bag. Right now, in terms of the food side of that, you've got different things going on. Egg prices have plummeted. Coffee prices and beef are up. So ultimately what squirts out is, how many type food items are dropping versus how many are going up. And then of course you've got to get into what amount of those different food products are part of, everybody's daily or weekly or monthly, grocery shopping and consumption and so forth. And so that's why with these data points, again, all the inflation numbers usually have the full number and then the core excluding food and energy, because the idea is the food and energy segments can be very volatile and they can jump around quite a bit for short periods of time based on external factors that may not establish a longer term trend. And so that's why a lot of times the Fed and most economists want to look at that core number that excludes the food and energy, because I think really that becomes a little bit better and a more stable indication of where inflation is going in the future.
Well, I have to echo something that you've said many, many times, especially when you were talking about the uncomfortable rise in the inflation number, and yet it was right on target or better than before. And beware the headlines.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I've said on the show before, I always start off early in the morning looking at the markets because I want to see what's going on with, not just the stock market, of course, but, particularly the bond market. And I knew, of course, we had the inflation numbers being released this week. And so when I checked very early this morning and I saw that the inflation number looked pretty tame, and yet on the business page I was looking at, and I think it was CNBC, I see this headline about an uncomfortable increase. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What is going on here? Why did this person write that when the data doesn't support, the numbers don't support that kind of a headline? Now, I don't know what a person like that, what their motivation is to somehow take what otherwise looks to be relatively tame and maybe I wouldn't call it a cool number, because the favorite terms now are cool or hot. If the inflation number comes in below expectations, it's cool. And if it comes in above expectations, even by a tick, it's hot, and it's like, and that's part of my problem with the headlines too, is they use some descriptive terms that I think exaggerate what's really going on. Like when you see something about rates have plummeted. Well, okay, we've gone from 6.1 to 6.
Yeah.
Or mortgage applications have, skyrocketed. Well, they're up, 10% over what they were a year ago. Well, of course, even a year ago, mortgage applications were, only 50% of what they were before the pandemic, for example. So it's like, it's all relative, and you got to peel through those headlines and understand that a lot of those headlines are, they're clickbait. They're trying to, send a message and get your attention. And sometimes I think in doing so, they're more misleading than otherwise.